Hey, hey, we're live. Check it out.
It's working this time.
Check it out now. We're both wearing Bret Hart shirts. We did not coordinate this. This is just because we love Bret Hart so much.
Yeah, it just happens to work out that way.
That's right. Bret Hart is the greatest wrestler to ever live. And if you don't believe us, just ask him.
Despite what apparently the WWE locker room thinks of Bret Hart.
Yeah, what was that? Okay, that happened this week, right?
It did happen.
Let's get to some Bret defending right off the bat. Let's take it up for the Hitman one time. Seth Rollins was asked about Bret Hart calling him unsafe in the ring, right?
Because the knee to John Cena.
Because of the knee to Cena's face that broke his nose, and maybe also because of when he powerbombed Finn Balor and busted his shoulder.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, Seth's got a record, yeah.
Yeah, of course, Seth's got a record. So Bret spoke up and said, hey, this guy's hurting people. I, Bret Hart, never hurt anybody because I'm the Hitman and I'm the greatest wrestler that ever lived. You know, my brother Owen was a pretty good wrestler too.
But you know, a huge thing for Bret though. Yeah, he didn't hurt his opponents. Like he was so good.
That's right.
But he didn't hurt anybody.
He never hurt anybody.
I think he may have broken Vader's nose or something though one time. But I think that was also Vader's fault because he moved.
It was definitely Vader's fault. It was definitely not Bret's fault. Okay. I'm just gonna tweet out the link to the show. So Seth Rollins said, "Oh, you know, I'm Seth Rollins, and we just kind of laughed off Bret Hart's comments. We don't take it seriously, whatever." It's like, hey man, that's Bret Hart. Show some damn respect, Seth Rollins, and take a little accountability for your actions. Like, you need John Cena in the face, and you broke his nose. That wasn't supposed to happen. You screwed up. Is that being a safe wrestler? Doesn't seem that safe to me. So show some respect to Bret Hart because he's a million times the wrestler that you could ever hope to be.
Well, I can understand why the locker room would defend Seth because they know him, they see him every week. Bret, they just probably have heard about Bret, they've seen his matches. So there's not that connection they have with Seth Rollins. It's like setting up your brother in a sense.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I understand the WWE locker room saying, "Oh, Seth, it's okay. You're not unsafe. You're a totally safe wrestler, and I would wrestle with you," and that's all fine and good. But you know, I mean, you look at Seth's record. He's hurt a couple dudes.
Well, I think there's a difference between standing up for your brother and just completely being blind to the situation. Like, he injured somebody, and he injured someone again, and someone who's a legend in the business is telling you, hey, there's a problem here, and you just dismiss it as it's off the wall, what a joke. I think there's something wrong with your thinking if you think that way.
Yeah, maybe you should think, hey, maybe Bret Hart is onto something. Maybe I should listen to the Hitman. This coming from two dudes wearing Bret Hart shirts just because that's how we roll every day. Well, we're biased. We are biased towards Bret, right? I mean, I was talking to you before the show even started. I was like, man, you know, we disagree on a lot of things here, but the one thing we can agree on is Bret Hart is #1 greatest wrestler of all time. And we always agree on that. Always. Always. Bret, I know you're watching. We love you. You're still the greatest of all time. And anybody that wants to debate that with me, don't even try. I don't want to hear it. Don't tell me Shawn Michaels. Don't tell me Ric Flair.
Or Triple H?
Yeah, right. I don't think anybody's making that argument. Is anybody seriously making the argument that Triple H is the greatest wrestler of all time?
I'm sure his kids would.
I don't think they would. I think they're Shawn Michaels fans, just like he is. They'd probably say him or Shawn or Rick. Andy Burroughs, our boy out in England, checking in. Ric Flair is the most overrated wrestler ever. And then Arbs checks in. What's up, Arbs? Haven't seen you before. Bret is the greatest. I agree. Greatest of all time. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be.
Let's just remember, too, that they had the opportunity to have Bret as one of the trainers in NXT. He offered his services, and they declined, Triple H and Vince. Yet they got Shawn instead. So that's the way they do business, WWE.
Well, it's pretty obvious that the WWE are not big fans of Bret. Where was Bret at the Raw 25th anniversary show?
He was getting surgery, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, was he?
Surgery. He talked about that too.
Oh, okay, okay. But still, they don't bring Bret out that much, you know? When they need to sell tickets at the Bell Center here in Montreal, they might try to bring Bret out, but other than that...
They'll get Pat Patterson instead.
Pat Patterson doesn't draw money like Bret Hart does. Bret Hart still draws money in this city, at least. I think in this whole country. You say Bret Hart's on the bill, people are going to show up just to see Bret Hart. That's a fact. Bret Hart is still legend status in this country. I don't know what the feeling is in the United States or whatever, but in Canada, Bret Hart is still a major draw. Bret Hart puts asses in seats, brother.
I agree. It's just a shame that apparently if you're critical and you don't go with the flow of what WWE is selling you, apparently you get blackballed because of that. And that's what's happened to Bret, which sucks.
That's how it works.
Well, it shouldn't work that way. But
when's the last time you saw the Steve Austin podcast on the WWE Network?
That's true. Yeah, but he still gets WWE superstars, though.
Yeah. Not as many as he used to.
No. But he doesn't need them, though.
Edge and Christian do. And they're not very critical of the WWE. They're pretty positive on their show. It's a good show, but it's just not... they're not critiquing a guy like Seth Rollins, like Bret Hart does. Or maybe Steve Austin would. Like, have we seen Steve Austin do a podcast on the WWE Network since he dressed down Dean Ambrose on that interview? He's like, I'm not seeing it, son. You need to bring it. You know?
I remember.
That was fantastic. Ambrose is like, I thought I was bringing it. Nope. You suck, Dean Ambrose. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
What did Andy say over there?
Bret Hart, hands down, best ever in the ring, no one better. And he says, top 3 all-time lads and why. He wants to know our top 3 wrestlers of all time and why. That is pretty tough. I would say, off the bat, Bret, Jericho, Kurt Angle. Bret because just mostly all 3 of them, the reason is because their matches were just amazing. Every match you saw was fantastic. I don't think any of those guys ever had a really bad match that's just unwatchable. They always went out there and gave 100% to have the best match possible. None of those guys ever phoned it in a single time in their entire careers. Kurt Angle, I mean, as legit as they come, delivered in the ring. Didn't have a super long career, but just incredible. Bret Hart speaks for itself. And Chris Jericho, you look at what he's done, the body of work. I think you're kidding yourself if you don't say Chris Jericho is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. So that's my top 3. Bret, Jericho, Angle. 2 Canadians, and Olympic gold medalist.
I'll agree with Bret and Jericho without question. I think they're not my number 1 and 2. Instead of Angle, I go Benoit. Now, I know in terms of promos, maybe not so much, but in terms of wrestling...
How about in terms of murder?
Okay, in terms of wrestling...
How about let's not...
Top wrestlers. Okay, wrestling.
Fuck. Here we go. I knew this was going to happen.
What, I can't say Benoit? Like, that's been censored on Wrestling Uncensored? Come on.
So Chris Benoit's in your top 3 of all time?
In terms of wrestling, yeah. It's wrestlers, yeah. No question.
Just put Eddie Guerrero in there instead, man.
Benoit, I thought Benoit was more entertaining than Eddie Guerrero.
How about Rob Van Dam?
Yeah, Van Dam's up there too.
He's one of my favorite of all time. Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko. Some of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Dory says Seth's comments on Bret, ridiculous. I agree. And he also says top 3, Triple H, Bret, and Undertaker.
There you go, Triple H fans.
And Andy goes, Triple H, what? I'm kind of surprised that you have Triple H in your top 3 of all time. I feel like, you know, he's had some really good matches, but that thing I said about you couldn't find one bad match about the other 3 guys I mentioned, Bret, Jericho, and Angle, like, There's a lot of bad Triple H matches. There's a lot of bad Triple H matches in big spots. And I think that's what hurts Triple H's legacy, is that he's had WrestleMania main events that were absolute garbage. He's had some incredible matches. He's had some great matches, you know, with Mick Foley, with The Undertaker, with Shawn Michaels. He's had some really good matches with The Rock. Triple H is a really good wrestler. I'm not going to say he's a bad wrestler, but he's had some really bad matches with Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Batista. And of course, you know, Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, and Batista aren't much to work with, but Triple H really couldn't bring the best out of them like a Daniel Bryan could. And give me another year or two, and Daniel Bryan might be in my top 3, because he's right up there too. Can't forget about my man D. Bry, who was amazing on SmackDown this week, which we'll talk about.
That was hit and miss, I found on SmackDown.
You didn't like that thing where he was doing the cane thing? That was the best thing I've seen on SmackDown in months. It was hilarious. Best finish to a WWE show in a very long time.
Yeah, the finish was fine. I just thought the opening promo felt a little awkward, though. And the brawling, too. Like, it just seemed it was off. But we'll get to that.
Dory says Triple H has had the best character development over the years. And, yeah, he's had good character development over the years, but he's been given that spotlight to develop the character more than most. So it's like, yeah, he's done stuff, but I mean, a lot of it has pretty much been the game. Like, he hasn't really changed. He comes out at the leather jacket and with the time to play the game music, he spits the water. Like, I don't know. He's more corporate now, but that's just reflecting his real life. I don't feel like the character's developed that much in the past 10 years, really.
Entrance-wise, no. It seems like it's the same entrance all the time. But you got to give him credit, longevity. That's hard in wrestling. The fact that he lasted for so long. You can say he's had some bad matches, but he's had a lot of matches.
He tailor-made the WWE at a certain point to make everybody slow down so that they could wrestle for longer. Like, he changed the way WWE wrestlers wrestle because he had power in the company so that he could extend his career. And he wrestled a very slow style with very low risk for a very long time on top. And it was awful to watch. Like, I'm sorry, Triple H is great and all, but man, he's had some terrible years. Like, the McMahon-Helmsley era? Come on, man. Triple H on top, feuding with Randy. Evolution? Evolution? I don't care what the WWE tries to tell you about Evolution. Evolution sucked. It was terrible. You want to see Triple H and Randy Orton main event pay-per-view after pay-per-view? Go back and watch those matches. In 2006, 2007, 2008. It was trash. Guys shouldn't have been on top. I'm sorry. Go back and listen to old Ringside Report Radio, and you'll be able to hear me talk about it. Or old Wrestling Uncensored, I guess, at this point. We're almost 400 episodes in, but I was not a fan of that era of Triple H. I think he hurt the wrestling business quite a bit back then.
More so Evolution. McMahon-Helmsley, I didn't think that was that bad, really.
But the Evolution era, you know?
Oh, that was horrible. That was Triple H in God mode. That shouldn't have happened, but it did. Because
that shouldn't have happened. And how long did we have to sit through that? Like, that hurts the legacy of Triple H. DX Triple H, cool. Second part DX Triple H with Shawn and Vince loves cock and all that stuff? Putting Vince's head in Big Show's ass? Like, come on, man. That was terrible. He did some really bad stuff. The Spirit Squad? Do you want to revisit the Triple H and Shawn versus Vince and the Spirit Squad? Go back and watch that. Oh, goodness. Dory says Evolution was okay at most. He says everyone has bad times. Daniel Bryan and Team Hell No. He hates it. Well, it's not going to last long, Dory. Don't worry about it. I actually like it. I think it's funny. I think Bryan and Kane work very well together. They have great chemistry. Daniel Bryan can't do anything wrong.
Kane seems a little sluggish, though, unfortunately. I feel like this might be the end of Kane.
Well, yeah. He's like 50 years old and a mayor. I mean...
Going to be a mayor.
Yeah, he's got other stuff to do. This is the end of Kane. This is like one final run. Have a little match with the Bludgeons at the pay-per-view with Bryan. It's just a little in-between program for Bryan before he goes on to whatever at SummerSlam. And I'm not really sure what that's going to be, but...
It's one of two things, it seems. It's either Daniel Bryan Miz, because they kind of teased that a bit on SmackDown, or Kane's going to turn on him at the pay-per-view, and they're going to have that match to end it for them.
You want to see Kane Bryan at SummerSlam?
I don't. I'd rather see the Miz, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Which says something, right? Andy says he's got a split opinion on Undertaker. He says he's a legend, but his matches have never done it for him. I think Undertaker's matches are mostly good, but a lot of them are like, you know, okay. Undertaker's a great character. You want to talk about his character development, that's been pretty cool. Even though he's basically the same as he always has been, there's been subtle changes throughout the years. But yeah, I agree with that. I feel like Taker definitely has had some great matches, especially in the later years. But early Undertaker was pretty simple. You know, there wasn't anything that you could really sink your teeth into. But again, he was given some pretty bad opponents.
Well, early Undertaker, when he wrestled Brett, those are some of the best Undertaker matches in his early years.
Early, like 90...
That's probably actually late 90s, but still.
Yeah, that's not that early Undertaker. Undertaker debuted in 91.
Well, it's early Undertaker if you look at to now.
Yeah. So you're talking about like 97, 96, 97?
Yeah.
Yeah, that era Undertaker was, I think, one of the best as far as his in-ring stuff.
Well, wrestling Brett, I mean, it doesn't hurt you whatsoever. He also has some very good matches with Shawn. And people can say what they want. You just said about Triple H. It's one of his best matches was him and Triple H Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, like at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I mean about Triple H. Like, he can still go. Maybe not anymore. I think he's getting towards the point where he can't really anymore.
He looks very slow in that ring now.
Yeah. And that makes sense. I mean, the guy is, you know...
He's getting up there. Yeah, he's close to 50.
Yeah. But he's, you know, even in his recent years, Triple H can still have great matches. Like, I don't want to say, especially, you know, I don't want to say anything too bad about Triple H, you know, you never know. I know Stephanie's a listener of Wrestling Uncensored, so I don't want her telling Hunter what I said, but he's a great wrestler. I just wouldn't put him in my top 5 of all time. Andy says we need to do a countdown show that would split everyone top 10. Like top 10 wrestler. Greatest wrestler and then top 10 what? Like, I don't know. What would we do?
What's the criteria?
Yeah, give us some categories you want us to fill top 10 and we'll do that. We'll do a special show. I'm into that. Why not? So, John, I want to like wrap this pre-show up. Like, I don't want to do an hour like last week. It was crazy. We've done a lot of wrestling talk in the pre-show, which is kind of rare, right? I know I was asked to break down the Pedro and Chantel, family Chantel fight from 90 Day Fiancé. Did you see that?
I saw like a clip of it, yeah.
It's pretty good. You know, not much to break down. Basically, the River, who's Chantel's brother, was like talking smack to Pedro. They were going back and forth. It was mostly Chantel's mother that was instigating the whole thing. She was questioning Pedro's sister and saying that Pedro's sister and Chantel don't get along. And River started saying some things, and Pedro pointed at Chantel's mother, which River took exception to. And then River said some things, and Pedro's like, "What you say? What you say?" And then River like hit a light at Pedro. Pedro deflected the light. And then he went and he like brawled with River. The whole family got involved. Chantel's father seemed to just want to eat the dinner. And then when Pedro kicked the food off the table, he's like, "Why'd you do that, Pedro?" The only time Thomas, Chantel's father, opened his mouth was when Pedro kicked the food off the table. I don't know, man. Apparently Pedro and Chantel are still together, but It was a pretty crazy fight on 90 Day Fiancé. I'm telling you, this show is really fun to watch. I'm really enjoying it this season. It's crazy.
Didn't River like take like 2 people down with him? I want to say it was like Pedro's sister, I think. Like, it just like fell and they just all went down.
Yeah. Yeah, there was like a big tumble. The mother fell down, the sister fell down. I think the sister lost her extensions. It's crazy.
Well, no one helped her up too. I noticed that as well. Like, no one really
Yeah,
cared.
no one's trying to help her up because she's on Team Pedro and they're on Team Chantel. Family Chantel. Crazy. Dory, the answer to your question is because we had a technical problem with the podcast. We couldn't upload it to the site. Which I hope doesn't happen on this thing. We had a technical issue. So if you want to watch the UFC 226 post-show, it's on YouTube only. Alright, check out our YouTube channel. Sorry. We had a problem.
I found it very enjoyable to watch on YouTube, actually.
Yeah?
You can still just listen to it as well, but you can also watch it.
Yeah. You could watch it on YouTube. Myself and AJ.
I actually thought it was a lot more enjoyable to watch it because at points it just got completely ridiculous. You guys stopped talking about UFC and I think AJ just started farting as well. So.
I don't think he did.
He didn't?
No.
I felt like something happened. There was an excuse me at one point. You guys were talking about...
Oh, I burped.
Oh, you burped, okay. I know there's some gas somewhere. Shenanigans. Absolute shenanigans.
Yeah, it was pure shenanigans. Like, we started off talking about the UFC for, like, the first half of the show, and then the second half was just nonsense. I don't even remember what we talked about. It was 2 in the morning. You gotta, like... you gotta remember, it's 2 a.m. on a Saturday night right after a UFC pay-per-view. You know, it's been a long night, and then you put AJ and I on YouTube, and things can go awry.
It was good, though. I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it.
Yeah, okay, good. I don't really remember. Maybe it's good it's not uploaded to a podcast. Maybe it's good it's just YouTube, you know? Don't want to spread it around too much. Antoinette says the mom, Chantel's mother, is holding the weave. Yeah, I think it was Pedro's sister, Nicole's weave. It's crazy. And, John, you had a story like you wanted to tell? Something about your birthday? You had a crazy story for the podcast? And you had a movie review. So, like, what's going on here?
Well, let's just talk about the new movie, The Rock's movie.
But you had a story. I want to know the story.
Oh, the story's kind of crazy. I don't know if we have time for the story, unfortunately.
No, we have time.
We have time for it?
If it's good,
well,
like...
If
you teased the story on Twitter.
Yeah, I did.
Follow him on Twitter, @NorthGenesis. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, @DaveSimonMMA.
So I went to bed like around like 5 p.m., woke up around like 5 a.m. I slept a really long time. And the dream was that I had died. And it was life after I had died. And I was seeing all the people who went to my funeral.
Are you telling us a dream?
Yeah.
You had a dream.
Yeah.
That's your crazy story? You had a dream?
Yeah.
Is this Johnny North dream time on the pre-show? Is this really what we're doing here? You kidding me? I thought you had an actual story.
It is a story.
That's not a story, you had a dream. No one cares about your dream. Don't tell this story.
Okay. Can I talk about The Rock's movie?
Yeah.
Alright, Skyscraper. A lot of fun. Great
Do you
action.
want to tell the story?
Well, like...
Alright, tell the story.
The story was, I'm at my funeral.
Anthony Plessia says, I care.
I'm glad you care. Thank you. At least someone cares.
So he wants to know the story. Do you guys want to hear the story? You want to hear John's story? Comment right now on YouTube. Tell me. Antoinette, Andy, do you want to hear John's story about his dream? I don't really. Dory says yes. Okay, fine. 2 votes for yes so far. I mean, it's happening. Let's go.
So I'm at...
Oh, Andy says yes. All right, they all want to hear the story, John.
Great.
So you're at your funeral. Yeah.
And I'm looking to see all the people there. And who's not there? This guy. This guy's not there.
I would definitely be there.
No, you're like actually in your living room and just eating like a candy bar. And yeah, you're not going.
That sounds like a good plan instead. Why am I not going?
You're enjoying your Snickers instead. Because you had the information to go.
I'm having a Snickers?
Because I guess I remember you guys talking about it on the...
When I gave out Snickers, everybody gets a Snickers on Ringside Report Radio.
I think I may have been listening to that episode before I went to bed.
So that's why I was in your dream, because you were thinking about me and Snickers.
Yeah, I think I fell asleep listening to the episode, so that's why, yeah. You love your Snickers, I guess, you know?
So that's the dream?
Oh, there's a bit more that happens too, but it gets even crazier. So, I don't know.
Let's go. They want to hear it.
So I feel terrible that you do this. So I check up on your son, seeing how he is.
Oh, okay.
He's teen Zev, by the way. Remember we talked about teen Zev, by the way. So
He's a teen at this point?
he's a teen at this point. I don't die like tomorrow or anything. I die like years from now. Like, come
years
on.
from now. But still, if he's a teen, you're still like dying in your 40s.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
It's not good.
No.
Antoinette says death means good things ahead, Johnny. And Andy says great story, but he's doing some eye rolling emojis. Andy's not impressed with your story. I'm not impressed with your story either. It's kind of weird. Why anyway, whatever. Anthony says you're the most interesting man in wrestling, though. So, I don't know. Split opinions. Okay, so Teen Zev, what's he doing?
Well, he's trying to get lucky.
Oh, okay. This is weird, man. I don't want to hear the rest of this story. This is just strange. Andy says he loves you.
Love you too, Andy. Appreciate it.
And Dory says, fier d'être bleu. And I agree. Fier d'être bleu. Sunday. Everybody ready for France to win the World Cup? If you're Croatian, turn off the show right now. You don't want to hear this. You're going down, Croatia. We're going to smash you, soccer style, with goals in your true. Andy's like, is the World Cup still on? Yeah. It's coming home to France, Andy.
You're a jerk, you know? You're a huge jerk.
Titi! Dembele Titi! Yes. Oh, I can't wait. Sunday morning. Irving Smallfield says Titi. Shout out to you, Irving. I think I know who that is.
Who is that?
I think that's my brother. I don't know. Uh-oh. Andy says he's going to a different podcast. He's done with us. Sorry, Andy. Sorry. I don't mean to rub it in. Like, I know it sucks for you guys, but I'm glad it's Croatia and not England in the final. I think England would have been tougher. So I'm glad that Croatia came through because I'm more confident in France beating Croatia. I may be wrong. I don't really know anything about soccer. I only watch it every 2 years. I'm sure a lot of you guys, like Andy, I know you know way more about soccer, and you're probably offended that I'm even calling it soccer. So, you know, don't listen to me. I'm just a crazy guy on YouTube.
You are crazy, but you're...
But allez les bleus, because we're going to win the World Cup on Sunday. And then I'll watch soccer again in 2 years at the Euro. Every 2 years, I like soccer a lot. And then I kind of give up. Once in a while, I'll go to an Impact game. Andy, do you know what the Impact are? They're a team we have here. They are terrible. Andy says he's got season tickets for the Tottenham Hotspurs, and it's football. It is football, I agree. Or soccer, whatever. I'm just messing with you, Andy.
It's not Man U? I'm surprised.
There's a lot of teams out there. The Hotspurs. What does that mean? What's a Hotspur? Is that like a spur on a... like the San Antonio Spurs, but they've been in the sun for a while? Like a cowboy thing? Do they have cowboys in England? Do they have cowboys in England? I've heard of the Tottenham Hotspurs. I've played FIFA. I have FIFA, Andy. Like, come on, you know? Most of my like soccer knowledge comes from playing FIFA. I play a lot of FIFA. I like it a lot. So I don't really watch soccer, but I play video games of it a lot on my Nintendo. Andy's like, yeah, there's no cowboys in England. That's what I figured. Why would there be? Wow. Dory says there's a Jay-Z and Beyonce concert in Paris on Sunday, so they're going to put the game on the screen before the show. He wonders how the crowd's going to be if France loses. Well, France isn't going to lose. France is going to win. So the crowd's going to be very happy because they're going to get to win the World Cup and then see Jay-Z and Beyonce. I'm not feeling that album that they put out. Not the best album of the summer. Not really in the discussion, as far as I'm concerned. Kanye put out too much heat. Andy says, it's about time you guys went international. Get to the UK. I'll show you around. That's far, man. UK is far.
Oh, he came to us, if I'm not mistaken.
I never seen Andy in Montreal.
Boston is very close.
Well, Boston's very close. How come he didn't come here to Montreal? Ahmad Kadri says, hey guys, good to see y'all here. Hey Ahmad, what's up, man?
What's up?
So John, you saw The Rock's new movie, Skyscraper?
Yeah, great action. Fantastic. From start to finish was action because The Rock got his leg blown off. So he's just a one-legged guy, and yet he's an ass kicker.
Okay.
I know you don't like The Rock.
It's based on a real guy, eh?
Is it? Like?
Yeah. I saw The Rock posted a picture on Instagram with like the director of the movie and the real guy that's an inspiration, and he's got like an artificial leg.
I don't think the real guy is as jacked as The Rock is.
Well, no, I don't think anybody's as jacked as The Rock is.
No, I don't think so. The Rock is probably the most jacked guy in the world.
No, there's bodybuilders that are more jacked than him.
Fine. Hollywood, though? I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, there's no Hollywood guys that are more jacked than The Rock, obviously. Although John Cena might be. John Cena's kind of a Hollywood guy now, and he's more jacked than The Rock, isn't he?
No. Do you remember like when they had that match at Survivor Series?
Yeah.
The tag match? Like, Cena looks so small compared to The Rock.
Rock's much taller.
Yeah. More mass.
Yeah. Antoinette says that the Jay-Z album sucks. She prefers Drake. I do, too. I think Drake's album is better than the Jay-Z and Beyonce one. Kanye's album was Cudi Kanye album. I like all those things that Kanye put out. I thought they were great. And I like the new Drake album. I think it's really good. And Antoinette is saying she's with me. Go France. Allez, les bleus.
Doesn't Wally have the bet with Croatia, though? He's going to win big, too, if they win.
I don't know. Andy says he's in Boston in September. Let's meet up. Yeah, but that would mean I'd have to go all the way to Boston, Andy. I'm not trying to go to Boston. What's in Boston? The Red Sox. Ugh.
First place Red Sox, by the way.
Yeah, they're jerks. They suck. I hate them so much. Go Yankees. Forever. Yankees are going to win the division, okay? It's going to happen. Dory says, John, that shirt is sick, man. He likes your shirt.
Yeah, that Dave got for me, yeah.
I got it for you.
Yeah.
That Bret Hart shirt. It is nice. Anthony says he suggests listening to Freddie Gibbs' new album and Meek Mill's new mixtape. I'm not a big fan of Meek Mill, but I guess I'll check it out. Ahmad says France will probably win, but Croatia are the underdogs and they're going to be tough. I agree. It's going to be tough. It's the World Cup final. I mean, they made it to the final for a reason, right? It's not like I'm not nervous, but I'm confident in France. It's a very good team. Made the Euro Cup final 2 years ago, lost to Portugal. Not this time. This time we win. Andy says, what's in Boston? Me and his girlfriend and his future home. Well, I'll tell you what, if you're full-time in Boston, Andy, then I'll definitely come check you out at some point. But if it's like a certain time and I gotta be in Boston, you gotta give me exact dates. September is like not that far away.
Can't be Fenway too, because apparently his Fenway.
I'm not trying to go to Fenway Park at all. Unless the Yankees are playing. Even then, I'll probably get into a big fight with people. And I'm not trying to get arrested in the States, so no bueno. Andy says he's going to be a full-time American soon. All right, well, I'll come check you out, Andy. Antoinette wants to know if I got my Yeezys. Yeah, I got my Yeezys. And Michael Dupree says, how about those new Childish Gambino tracks? I actually haven't checked those out yet, but I'm not a huge fan of his either. I think he's all right. I like Atlanta. I'm a big fan of that show. I think that show is fantastic. I'm more a fan of that than the music. Oh, Wally said he's gonna win $1,100 if Croatia wins, but France is gonna win. So, sorry, Wally. Does Antoinette ask about the Yeezys? Hold on, I'm gonna get them.
Once again, it's the Johnny North show.
It's not gonna last.
Thankfully. It's the way it always should have been from the start. Now, what else happened in that dream? Yeah, we had Teen Zev. He was trying to get lucky, but I didn't like the way things were going with that with Teen Zev.
That's enough.
Now I'm getting shut down before he even comes back. That's great.
I'm back. Got Yeezys. See, these are the new Yeezys. Right here, Yeezy 500s. Just came out.
Kind of used a bit.
Yeah, well, I wore them a couple times so far. I wear them. A lot of people buy them to sell them, but I wear them. Those are the 500s, the all black utility. And these are the other ones that I have. These are like the cream, kind of white 500s. I'm thinking about mixing and matching, wearing them like wearing one white and one black. It looks kind of cool. I might do it, I don't know. Anyways, new Yeezys out. All black. Real nice. Got them last weekend. Boom. Irving Smallfield says, leave my nephew alone, let him have a childhood. Yeah, I agree with him. And that is my brother. Confirmation. Big ups to you, my man. Are you coming to IWS with me tomorrow night or not? Can you please answer me? Let me know. Are we going to see Green Phantom? What's the deal?
Apparently, if I talk about him, he's not gonna have a childhood. Like,
yo, just
like Freddy Krueger.
Show some respect, okay? The family is always watching, John. The family's watching.
The family Chantel, like that's the family.
Yo, the family Chantel has got nothing on the family Simon, okay? Nothing. Anthony says he's not a fan of the new ones. The new what? The 500s? I like them, man. They're cool. They're nice and chunky. I'm trying to get my hands on a pair of the 700s. I don't have those. I need those. If anybody wants to link me up with some Yeezy 700s, I will owe you forever. You will be my best friend. I don't know what else I can offer you. Cash money? Antoinette says she loves the black ones. They're nice. I do like them. I like them quite a bit. They are pretty nice. You don't like these, Johnny? I like how they're nice and chunky, you know?
Didn't you and like AJ debate about like Adidas? Like you said you're not an Adidas guy and like
yeah, that was hilarious when I was talking about Yeezys with AJ and he's like, "Oh, I just like Adidas." And I'm like, "AJ, Yeezys are Adidas. I have way more Adidas than you do, dude." He like it blew his mind. He's like, "What?"
Yeah.
You like my AJ impression? What? Oh, Andy said he just spoke to his girlfriend. They're going to do a week in Canada. He says he needs to be on the pre-show. Yeah, for sure. Andy, if you come to Montreal, I'll put you on the pre-show 100%. 100%. Antoinette says she's going to bring cannoli and good food. Yeah, you can do that whenever. I don't know what the occasion is for that. Maybe when Andy's coming, but I'm down with the good food and cannolis.
Didn't AJ bring that before?
AJ did not do that. Dory asked me if I'm familiar with ninjutsu martial art. He started training and it's kind of dope. I don't know much about ninjutsu. Sounds fun, I guess. I'm more into jujitsu. Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I don't know. And wrestling. You want to do anything, I would suggest wrestling. Not like pro wrestling, but amateur wrestling. Andy says he's going to bring me a Tottenham jersey. All right, I'm into that. That sounds cool. I like soccer jerseys. Thanks, Andy. So you like the new Rock movie?
Yeah, the new Rock movie was a lot of fun. Enjoyable. Start to finish. Definitely the movie to watch this summer so far.
Yeah? I haven't seen any movies this summer. Trying to think, have I been watching anything? Oh, the new season of Power started. Anybody watching Power? You don't watch that,
I haven't seen it. I finished watching Unsolved, which was great.
Yeah, it was good, eh?
I don't think there's gonna be another season though, unfortunately. But
I don't think there's a real need for another season. You got to check out that Death Row show now.
yeah, I forgot to check that out. Yeah.
I'll send that to you.
Okay.
I'll hook you up with that. Oh, Antoinette says in Toronto for the UFC, she's going to hook us up with food. Yeah, I might go to the UFC in Toronto. I'm more into traveling somewhere in Canada than going to the United States right now. I'm not really into going to the States. I don't really want to cross that border and go over there. Like, no offense to our American listeners and viewers, but the country's a little messed up right now. I'm not trying to go to the United States at all. Like, I'm not going. Until Trump is gone, like, I'm not going. I'm not into it. They got to change the direction of the country before I go back there. That's straight up. That's no lie. I'm not going.
Well, you're not getting Brock in December in Toronto. That's confirmed. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah, Brock's not going to be... no, Brock can't fight till, like, January 8th, 2019. He's still under suspension until then. He re-entered the testing pool, but he can't fight till January. Michael, I think, yeah, you're out in like, Michigan, right? He wants to go back to Montreal. I feel you. The United States is a crazy place right now. I'm not interested. There's nothing that can really draw me out there, you know? There's nothing that I really want out there or need to go to or see. I have no reason to go to the United States, and if I can avoid it, I'm going to avoid it as much as possible. Andy says Trump's in the UK right now. Yeah, apparently there's big protests. Big protests. I know Johnny doesn't feel the same way. You have no problem going to the United States. You got no real problem with Donald Trump. But I'm not into it. I'm not going to the States.
Met a lot of good people in the States. A lot of Americans I like. I don't think you should just completely...
Oh, I like Americans, for sure. It's not the people that I have a problem with. It's the government. And unfortunately, when you cross that border, you have to deal with the government. And it's really the border crossing that I'm worried about. Once I'm in the United States, I'm not really worried. It's just like the border, you know, how they deal with me. And I don't want anybody trying to take my phone and look at my Twitter just for crossing into your country. And, like, apparently they're doing stuff like that now. Like, you got to surrender your cell phone. Like, what's that about? It's an invasion of privacy that I'm not comfortable with. Among other things that the United States are doing, you know? But there's a lot going on there that I'm just not happy with. So I'm like, you know what? Not for me. Not for me. I was thinking about going to WrestleMania next year in New York. Ring of Honor and New Japan are doing a joint show WrestleMania weekend at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be incredible. But I'm not sure I want to go. 2020. Maybe after 2020 I'll go back to the States.
I don't know. The Rock said he's only going to run in 2024, so...
Well, what about Kanye? I don't know. Somebody.
I think The Rock's predicting that it's going to be a lot longer before he can become president.
How about, like, Randy Orton? I mean, Randy Orton at this point would be better. How about The Miz? He's awesome. Miz for president, 2020. I'm with that. Cody Rhodes. Somebody. Didn't Cody say he's going to run for the Senate?
Really? I didn't hear that. But that's fun.
Antoinette says she's not going to the States, say no to Trump. Ahmad says it's bad, but things do turn around. Thankfully, the system's designed to not let people become dictators. Hopefully. Michael says this country had so many of the same issues before Trump, too. This country's been messed up forever. There are some problems, for sure. Every country's got their problems, though. The guns are scary, though. As a Canadian, like, thinking about walking into a place where everybody's got a gun and I don't, it's not a very comfortable feeling, you know? Like, I can't go in there armed. I don't have guns. I don't have guns in my home. I've never handled a gun. Even if you gave me a gun, I'm not sure I know how to do anything with it. For real. I never shot a gun before. You ever shot a gun?
I've pulled down the American flag at a wrestling show, and I'm like, oh crap, I hope I don't get shot for that.
You ever shot a gun?
No.
We don't shoot guns. Like, I'm telling you, most American dudes in their 30s, especially like, you know, wrestling fans, whatever, if we're Americans, we would have shot a gun.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
I've never held a gun in my life. You ever even touched a gun?
Yeah, no, I touched a gun, yeah.
You touched a gun?
Yeah. I live in the country, like...
Okay, but you never shot one?
No.
But it was like a shotgun you touched or something? Yeah. You lived in the country, yeah. Country guys have shotguns, and sometimes... It's like hunting stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah, like a hunting rifle. But that's all it is. I've never done that either. Like, I'm not a country guy, like Johnny, so I don't know guns. I've never shot a gun in my life, and I'm not trying to shoot a gun. Guns kill, man. Okay? And walking into a country where everybody has a gun and everybody thinks it's cool to have a gun, and I don't have a gun, and I don't know anything about guns, I don't know how to deal with guns, it's like, whoa, I don't like this. This doesn't make me feel very comfortable. I walk around in Canada, you know, I'm a martial artist, you know, I know how to do things. I feel pretty comfortable. Nobody's gonna mess with me. But across that border, it's like, whoa, what am I gonna do? Choke a guy? He's gonna shoot my head off. It's not comfortable.
Not everyone's walking around with guns, though.
Michael says he's never touched a gun. And he's American. So I'm sure there's a bunch of you guys out there. But the impression that we get is like, man, everybody's got a gun out there. It's scary. People get shot every day in every city across the nation. That doesn't happen here. Dory says guns are legal in Canada? Not really. Like, you can have like hunting rifles for hunting, but that's pretty much it. You can't really have a handgun. You can't have a handgun, can you?
Everything has to be registered.
Yeah, it's like super registered. You have to go through a bunch of like a bunch of a bunch of hoops to do everything. Like, it's a serious process to get a gun, and even then, it's like you might not get one in the end. And I think pretty much all you can get is a hunting rifle, from what I know. But like, nobody I know has guns. We don't have guns. There's no guns here, really.
Except, again, like you said, hunting. That's pretty much
the thing. And like, criminals find ways to get guns, of course, you know, but like nothing, like the accessibility, you know. And that's the thing, like out there you have such accessibility to guns.
Yeah. That
it's like so easy to get one and to get all these, like, you know, assault rifles and whatever. But here, like, if you get caught with something like that, you're going to jail, like, right away. Like, over there, you get caught with it, it's like, oh, maybe I bought it from here or whatever. Over here, you get caught with something like that, it's like, hey, man, what the hell are you doing with that? You can't have this. So it's, like, automatic. Like, you can't even be seen with this stuff. There are states that are open carry, man. You can carry all sorts of big guns just, like, walking around. There's not a single place in Canada where you could walk around with a big old assault rifle, and if a cop sees you, he's not going to arrest you immediately. That's a big difference, man. Big difference.
He's not secure, is pretty much what he's saying.
Hmm?
You're not secure. That's it.
Well, you're not secure if you're not armed and everybody else is, right? Ahmad says, what's scarier is when people want to own machine guns and automatic arsenal. That's scary. Yeah, that is scary. And Dory says, Matt Serra doesn't need a gun. That's true, but that guy was like drunk in a restaurant, and all Matt did was, you know, take him down and sit on him. Get a full mount from a black belt. You're not getting up, my friend. Especially Matt Serra. He's a heavy boy. Antoinette says she shot a gun in police school. Antoinette's Canadian. But police school, you know? Police have guns. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things keeping me away from the United States. I don't know why we're talking about this.
Yeah, you kind of drifted there a little bit. You do that.
Pre-show's over. Pre-show's over.
No last comments? No, like, last minute things? Like, people want to get the predictions for Extreme Rules? No?
We're going to do the predictions for Extreme Rules on Wrestling Uncensored.
Yeah, we'll get other people's predictions, no? No one has thoughts on Extreme Rules? No.
All right, final thoughts for the pre-show here. We've, like, drifted into gun violence. I don't know how we got here. Dory wants a skyscraper review. You gave the review, didn't you?
Yeah, it was great. Start to finish. Go watch it. It's the best thing you can watch this summer.
So you loved it?
I loved it a lot. One of the best Rock movies I've seen in a long time, actually.
The Rock.
What's also
I miss
great,
The Rock.
what's great too is like usually The Rock, like he's kind of invincible throughout the whole movie. In this, a lot of it because he has one leg, but he gets his butt kicked a lot, and it just feels a lot more real. That yeah, The Rock can't dodge all these bullets and everything. Like he's gonna get his butt kicked more often than not. Especially if he gets hit from behind. Like he's not just gonna no sell everything. Hey, you laugh, but it's true. Like Fast and the Furious, like he's just like he's superhuman in that movie.
Oh yeah.
In this, it's a little bit more realistic. I mean, it's still a little off the wall because he's jumping from a huge skyscraper, but still. At least in terms of the fighting, it seems more realistic.
You've not sold me on this movie.
Well, you don't like The Rock, unfortunately. I don't know what happened to you, but you've changed.
I like The Rock. I'm not a big fan of the Dwayne. He's changed.
It's changed for the better.
Financially, maybe, but like, really? In ring-wise, he hasn't.
He's in better shape now than he was when he was wrestling. And yeah, he makes a lot more money. How are things bad?
The Rock, here's the difference between The Rock. The Rock had the hair. Remember Rock's hair?
I like Bald Rock. Bald Rock's cool.
The Dwayne is bald. Two different guys.
He's superhuman now. It's fine. It's cool when he's like that.
I prefer The Rock. He was more fun. He was the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. The most electrifying man in all of entertainment is not as electrifying. Antoinette says Extreme Rules better be good. Dory says Extreme Rules gonna be so bad. Antoinette wants to know, are we gonna do an after show after Extreme Rules? Yep. I'll be on YouTube here right after Extreme Rules Sunday night. Johnny, I don't think will be here.
But you'll have somebody else?
I think my brother will be here. I think. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be here and co-host with me. So, the Simon family, back at it.
That's good.
Antoinette says Skyscraper was a 10. She loved it. People like it. It's not my kind of movie, but yeah. Rock, Austin, and McMahon had an excellent storyline back in the 90s. Yeah. The Rock was better in the 90s. I don't think we can debate that. The Rock was the best version of The Rock was like 1999 Rock. That version of The Rock was my favorite.
See, David Simon's not a fan of Cookie Puss. Ever since that promo, he didn't like The Rock, so.
He should have never had taken the title from CM Punk.
He's got some bitterness there.
Punk should have beat him at the Rumble. What was that, 5 years ago?
I think, actually, no, the Rumble was the right choice. Maybe give Punk the title back, make it a three-way. But no, the Rumble was the right choice to switch the title.
That was the beginning of the end of CM Punk in the WWE. When he had to drop the title to The Rock, that was the beginning of CM Punk realizing no matter what I do, no matter how big I get, they're never going to treat me like they treat these other guys.
You sure it wasn't Ryback? Because he got injured against Ryback.
Yeah, but The Rock was like the first straw. It was like, oh, okay. Because CM Punk was like killing it. You know, top guy, nonstop. And then they have him lose to The Rock, and then they have him lose to Undertaker and Mania. Right?
Right, yeah.
And it was like, okay.
Lost to Kane on Raw.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, you can't always win.
What about when you should, though? You know?
Lost to Brock, too.
Ahmad wants to know if we think Punk will ever come back.
To wrestling? Yeah, sure. Not WWE.
I think to wrestling he will. To WWE is highly unlikely. And will Punk have another fight in the UFC? That's a big no. No. They will not give him another shot. Punk's UFC career is over. Will he fight MMA again? Possibly. I think some other MMA promotion would be willing to take a risk on CM Punk because he's worth it, but I don't think the UFC wants to be in the CM Punk business anymore. That last fight was just embarrassing.
I think that's why someone like Bellator would give him a shot.
I think Bellator would do it. I think they'd be smart to do it. But I don't know if Punk should do it. Is Punk a bigger star now if he comes back to WWE? I don't know. I think Punk was a bigger star when he just left WWE. I think that was the height of Punk. I feel like his UFC run, because it's been so bad, it's hurt his star power and his value as a wrestler a little bit. Like, he's still very valuable, but if he would have just left wrestling and not lost in the UFC, I think he'd be more valuable now for pro wrestling. I think the UFC run hurt his value because he became kind of a joke in another sport.
But they still chant his name. They chanted his name at the last pay-per-view. He's still a draw. He's still over.
Mm-hmm.
People still want to see him. That's not going to change, I think.
Yeah, no, I think he's still a big star, and if he were to walk into the WWE today, the crowd would go crazy. I would go crazy. We all would. Anthony says he'd have to be in the Indies first before going back to the WWE and being a star. I disagree. Ahmad says he'd be a draw if he comes back to the WWE. I think he would be, for sure. But maybe not as much as he would have been had he not gone to the UFC.
It's tough because there's a lack of trust there. Like, he comes back, is it just for that moment? I mean, how are they going to sign a contract exactly? Does he want to really do the road again? There's a lot of issues there. And, of course, he'd have to see Triple H every day. I mean, does he want to do that?
It's not happening. It's not happening. Punk's not coming back to the WWE. Anthony wants to see him show up at All In. I would like to see that too.
He is going to be there, kind of.
I'm All In. Make sure to check out, if you want more on All In and New Japan Pro Wrestling and all that stuff, the G1 is starting. G1 28 starting like late tonight. So the G1 is beginning this weekend, going to the middle of August. Green Phantom and I previewed that whole tournament, and we reviewed the G1 special, the amazing match between Kenny Omega and Cody, Hiromu Takahashi and Dragon Lee, like Hiromu breaking his neck in that match pretty much. It was crazy.
I heard you guys talk about that at Steel and Laser.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Unbelievable. Listen to the latest episode of What's Fandom in Japan right now at ringsidereport.net, wrestlinguncensored.net. It's on our YouTube channel as well. The G1 is starting. I might do a special podcast in between, like during the G1, because it's such a long tournament and there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen. It's going to be great. I can't wait for the G1. You want to see some really good pro wrestling? Watch New Japan, because right now that company's on fire.
From what I saw, it looked good from the clips that I saw. It looked really good.
You should watch the matches. You still haven't seen Omega Okada, right?
Not yet.
You're never going to watch it.
I will. I just gotta get around to it. There's a lot to watch. You know, when you see a movie every week, when you watch Raw and SmackDown every week, man, it's a lot.
When you watch 90 Day Fiancé every week, it's a lot to watch. It's a lot to watch.
Yeah.
Wrestling Uncensored, pre-show. We're putting out a lot to watch too. I hope everybody can keep up. Thanks everybody for joining in. Shout out to Dory, Ahmad, Anthony, Antoinette, Michael, Andy. I'm sure I'm missing some people. Everybody.
Sasha's MIA, but he said it ahead of time.
Sasha, Wally, my brother. Everybody checking in. My brother never answered me about the show tomorrow night, eh? I gotta text him now. Unbelievable. Alright. We'll preview Extreme Rules on Wrestling Uncensored. Be sure to listen to it tomorrow night on TSN 690 and download it at WrestlingUncensored.net. I'm Dave. He's Johnny. Allez blur. Go France. I see you, Dory. This has been the Wrestling Uncensored pre-show. Should we do a yeah at the end of this now? I feel like this is a separate entity.
So then you don't have to.
Okay. Bye.
Dave's finger.